So this is part 1 of worksheet 2 in unit 3. So far what I did is I drew a rectangle with filleted corners. I actually drew the circles, that way when I extruded it, they would be holes that go all the way through. And then I extruded it all the way up. I drew this oval at the top, and then I extruded that down to subtractively remove this section. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a hole actually on this surface, and that hole is going to be not all the way through, but it is going to be centered on this circle. And so that's why I use the hole tool, is I selected that curve so that it could be concentrically located right in the middle. It's not going to have any special kind of seat, and the diameter is going to be 4, not 6. It's also not going to go through the entire shape. I want it to only go a certain distance, and the distance that I want it to go down is 1.5. So I can press OK, and now if we go back to the home view, we can see that there's that hole there, but it does not go all the way through like these other ones do. The next thing I want to do is I want to make a hole all the way through, and for this one I'll use a sketch. So this sketch needs to have a circle that's actually right on the midpoint of this line, and that circle needs a radius of 1.5 or a diameter of 3. So I'll finish sketching this and I'll extrude. And really I could do, I think I'm going to do both regions here. And I'm going to extrude it downward all the way through the shape. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because I know that the drawing only shows it go this far, but we want to see where that shape is centered on the bottom of our block, which it just made that hole there. So I'm going to use the hole tool again, and I'll click this face. Then I'm going to click the circle so it's centered right on the circle, and here I'm going to set the diameter to 5. This is shown in the top cutout view on the worksheet. And then I'm going to set the depth to 3. And so what we should see here is that if we return to the home view, that large hole goes all the way up to the surface of this oval. And it's centered in the same place that this smaller circle was that we made. Then the last thing that we need to do is make a sketch on this surface. I'm actually going to make a big X, and I'm going to be very careful to make sure that I'm clicking at these corners, not missing them. The reason I made an X is that now I have this intersection point that I can use for the hole tool. So I'll click the hole tool again, and I'll choose this side, and then I'm going to zoom in and select that intersection so that the hole goes right there. Now here we're going to use quite a few specifications. So the first is that we want it to be a counterbore hole. The second is that we want it to have a drill point at the end. And now we can start looking at the top left image on the drawing, which gives us some of these sizes. So we want the outside bigger diameter to be 5, the smaller diameter to be 3, the distance that it goes in to also be 3, and this distance to be 1.5. So now we'll be able to kind of see before we even accept it that it's kind of a drill point that makes a little triangle here. It's going to have a larger cylinder outside of a smaller one. So I'm going to click OK to accept it. That definitely did not work. That's okay. I can double click it to edit it. 3, 5. I'm wondering if it's not centered. Got it. Okay, so that made two holes. So I'm going to redo this entire thing real quick. So hole tool. Let's actually let's touch up the sketch and let's put a point right at the intersection. And then when we choose the hole tool, it's going to let us click right on that spot. It defaulted right there. It has my measurements. And so here we have our finished product with the hole going through. If we look from this edge, we can see that that drill point pokes through just a little bit. And we are complete.